Pokemon regional forms were first introduced in Pokemon's 7th generation, the Alola region. And while a lot of these Pokemon regional forms are an awesome addition and much needed modernization for older Pokemon, some are downright bad and others are just confusing. Today, I'm going to be ranking my top 5 best and worst Pokemon regional forms. As for the criteria, I'll be ranking the regional forms largely on their designs and their overall aura. And a quick disclaimer, this is simply my opinion and my list, you're allowed to have your own. Starting with the number 5 for the best Pokemon regional form is Galarian Slowking. And I know what you're thinking immediately, since for me personally, I wasn't even aware of this form until I played back through Pokemon Sword and Shield. Galarian Slowking is definitely underrated in its design. It takes an average yet iconic Cantonian Pokemon and completely changes its vibe. I think one of the most interesting parts of this new form is its Poison Psychic type, which it shares only with Galarian Slowbro and Munkidori. Overall, I think Galarian Slowking is an under the radar pick for this type of list, but I do hope this one isn't too controversial or out there. Moving to number 5 for the worst Pokemon regional form is Hisuian Electrode. For me, the only thing that Hisuian Electrode has going for it is its unique typing of Grass Electric. It's quite a bland change for an already bland Pokemon. The best thing Electrode and honestly also Voltorb could have gotten were regional evolutions in my opinion, if you really wanted to upgrade these Pokemon. But overall, other Pokemon would have benefited from a regional form way more than Electrode, and like I said before, other than its typing, it's a disappointing change. Quickly before we move on, I'd like to ask you to please consider subscribing if you're new and enjoying the video. It's completely free and the easiest way you can support me. My goal is to reach 1,000 subscribers before July, and your help would allow me to continue to make bigger and better videos. Now back to the video. On to the number 4 slot for the best regional form is Hisuian Typhlosion. Even after the recent allegations against this Pokemon, Hisuian Typhlosion is a fan favorite coming out of Legends Arceus. A great overall design and a powerful offensive typing of Ghost Fire, this Pokemon can hit hard and play a unique type of game. Its new flames highlight its new overall theme, and I think this is a great design change on a classic Johto Pokemon. Number 4 for the worst regional forms is Alolan Raticate. I think overall, Alolan Raticate is just a victim of the more conservative nature of the regional forms of Alola. Definitely a light change and one that was probably testing the waters of regional forms in the 7th generation. While I do appreciate a twist on a classic older Pokemon and the addition of the dark typing, I think Alolan Raticate just does too little. Its one saving grace is its presence in the game as a totem Pokemon, but I think that's about it for its accolades. Number 3 for the best regional form is Hisuian Arcanine. Arcanine is one of my favorite Pokemon ever, and seeing this regional form makes me like the Pokemon even more. Its rock fire typing is extremely unique, and the new design of its fur looking like Smoker Char definitely makes this design. Hisuian Arcanine is a great example of a beloved older Pokemon taking on a new fresh design, and they absolutely hit the nail on the head. I'd also like to shout out Hisuian Growlithe as well as a great regional form, and once again a cute twist on an older beloved Pokemon, and enhances the overall Arcanine line well. Number 3 for the worst regional forms is Alolan Persian. This is definitely a disappointment, especially after seeing Alolan Meowth, a Pokemon I actually quite like design-wise. I get what they were going for here, but for me a recolor and making the head an oval isn't exactly what I was looking for. I think something more unique and taking on the spirit of Alola could have been a greater enhancement for Alolan Persian. Again, I think this is just a simple design they were doing to match Alolan Meowth, and I hope Persian can get some more love in the future since they gave Galarian Meowth a new evolution instead of a new design for Persian. Moving to number 2 for the best regional forms is Hisuian Zoroark. This is pretty much expected in any list for an obvious reason. Taking an already awesome Pokemon of Zoroark and enhancing it even more with the white and red highlights is just unmatched. Also, making it a normal ghost type is extremely unique and something you wouldn't even think possible. This type combination gives it an extremely unique presence in a battle and overall extremely menacing. This is a Pokemon that should definitely be included in any top 5 list for current regional variants. And also shout out to Hisuian Zoroark, who's absolutely awesome as well, keeping the same design theme as Hisuian Zoroark. And for number 2 for the worst regional forms is Alolan Exeggutor. I have a little bit of a personal beef with this Pokemon for just how much I don't like it. I think it's extremely boring, literally just making its neck extremely long. I get it's kind of a gimmick Pokemon, and it's literally supposed to just be a joke, and like a palm tree almost in Alola, but I just don't enjoy it. Pokemon also just wanted to layer it on, giving it the dragon typing for some reason. Overall, I just think it's a pretty unserious design in Pokemon overall, which I understand is kind of the concept, but not something I really enjoy. I definitely think this could have been a cooler design, but at the same time, it did become a pretty massive talking point of the Alola games and the hype beforehand. Before going on to the regional form, I do want to say my least favorite regional form first, which is Alolan Dugtrio. Where do I start with this Pokemon? Dugtrio is already a Pokemon I've never really liked just for its design, and then sticking blonde hair onto it just creeps me out even more. You already have the mystery of what's going on below its head coming out of the ground, and then you add a blonde Hawaiian girl hair on top of it, it just points me in the wrong direction. I think this Pokemon could have been way cooler and a better twist on Dugtrio. Overall, just a bad design, and one that I find a little disturbing honestly. But finally, we've made it to the best regional forms. In my opinion, the absolute best regional forms are the Galarian Kanto birds. And before you say it, I know it's 3 Pokemon, but I cannot put one and not the others. I mean, where do I even start? My favorite of the 3 is most definitely Galarian Moltres. Already being my favorite bird and then slapping on the dark typing, this bird is absolutely awesome. This is the type of Pokemon I would imagine as a kid when I thought of the coolest Pokemon I possibly could. Galarian Articuno is definitely next. Becoming a psychic flying type, this Pokemon pushes the limits of what a regional form can be, and it absolutely nails it. The eyes and the body color definitely do it for me and define what a psychic type should be. For Galarian Zapdos, what a great way to push the upper limits of what these birds can be. Putting it on the ground and making it a part fighting type is something I don't think I could have imagined, just due to the original nature of the Pokemon. I could go on and glaze these Pokemon for another while, but I think just looking at them does them justice. Galar is definitely where Pokemon got out of its comfort zone after the regional forms landed well in Alola and took them to a whole new level design-wise. And I think the Galarian Kanto birds are the peak of what they are able to create with this newfound creative liberty of simpler designs from 20 years ago. However, after hearing my thoughts, what are your top 5 best and worst Pokemon regional forms? There's plenty of others that I like and dislike that didn't make my list that I'd love to discuss down in the comments. Be sure to like the video and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you all soon.